Emulating others is not copying. I really just want to say that again. Emulating others is not copying. It's learning. It's actually a compliment to them. If you see someone doing something amazing, ask yourself, how can I adapt this in a way that feels true to me? This podcast, for example, is inspired by amazing hosts like Mel Robbins and Amy Porterfield. That's not copying. I'm not copying them. It was learning how they did it, learning how they captivate their audiences. I know that many of you spend the day scrolling and comparing yourself to others, but we should be learning from others because some people are doing what we want to do in their own way, but maybe they're doing it better or just a little differently. There's nothing wrong with emulating because, I know I said it already, emulating is not copying. So when you take inspiration from someone, it means you admire what they've done and you see value in their approach. Well, hey there. Welcome to Media Savvy, the podcast that gives you a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to get noticed by media and become the go-to expert that they keep coming back to. I'll be sitting down with successful writers, producers, and entrepreneurs to learn the tools and tactics they use to build their reputation and in turn boost their business. I'm your host, Bonnie Taub-Dix, and I've been working with top-tier media outlets for more than 30 years, anywhere from traditional print publications to online and social platforms. And I'm sharing my nutrition guidance without gimmicks. But you don't have to be a dietitian for this podcast to speak to you. Through my one-to-one conversations, you'll learn how to build a strategy to get your name in the news and establish yourself as an authority in your field, no matter what the industry. With Media Savvy, I'm on a mission to inspire, motivate, and empower you to have the confidence and tools you need to shine in the spotlight. Are you ready? Let's get Media Savvy. Hey there, Media Savvy friends. I'm your host, Bonnie Taub-Dix, and welcome back if you've hung out with us before. And if you're new, well, then I am so happy that you're here. Today, we're diving into a topic that's close to my heart, staying relevant in a saturated media landscape. If you've ever thought, why bother? Why should I do this? Someone else is already doing this. I'll never stand out. Then this episode is absolutely for you. I'll share how I've stayed visible and relevant over time, my strategies for reinvention, and why continuous learning is your secret weapon. Plus, I'll explain why it's okay, maybe even smart, to take inspiration from others. There's room for you because no one else could do it like you do. That's going to be a theme here today. Here's the thing. The media world is always changing. Trends come and go, platforms evolve, algorithms change, and new faces pop up every day. I get it. It could feel overwhelming. But let me tell you this. Longevity in media isn't about being trendy. This is not like fashion. It's about being valuable. When I started working with media, believe it or not, social media didn't even exist. I know, crazy, right? There was no Instagram, no TikTok, and definitely nothing like X. Honestly, I'm grateful for those times because there's a part of me that really wishes that we could go back to that. Not being attached to a phone all the time was so meaningful and so helpful to me, especially while I was raising my kids and juggling my consulting business all at the same time. But since there was no scrolling, there wasn't that comparison game. You know, looking at what everybody else is doing and getting caught up in it. I see you out there. You know who you are. And also back then, since the only screens were TV, it was easy to get placed for interviews and appearances on talk shows. There weren't very many dietitians doing that kind of stuff in those days, so it was really easy to stand out, and I got called a lot for those kinds of appearances. But I've had to reinvent myself and my platforms and my messaging countless times. But through it all, my focus has always been the same. Be authentic, be honest, offer value, and stay curious. You know, you don't need to chase every trend to try to be everything to everyone. Staying relevant is about knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you bring to the table, because what you have is uniquely yours. You've got to play the long game. To me, being relevant also means being heard, because when you're heard, you could inspire, lead, and influence others. You know, something else is that I've never had the biggest social media following. And that used to worry me when everybody was talking about how to gain followers. But what I've learned is that brands didn't come to me because of my follower count. They came to me because they knew I was credible, because I knew how to take their message and translate it for real people across any platform, whether it was TV, radio, online, live interviews, you name it, they knew that I could do it. They knew I could pivot gracefully when a reporter asked a tricky question, that I could show up on camera with clarity, warmth, and yeah, sometimes even humor. I know my kids don't think I'm very funny, but sometimes brands appreciated my humor, and so did reporters. And they knew that I wouldn't just recite talking points, and that instead that I would actually connect with their audiences. That built trust. And that's what led to long-standing partnerships that I am truly proud of. So please remember this. A big following is nice. And it's not that my following is so small. It's just not a gazillion followers. And, yes, I'll admit some brands that really do look for that. But knowing your stuff, showing up consistently, and delivering with confidence, that's what really matters. And hopefully that's what also will count for the brand that you choose to work with. So let's talk a little bit about reinvention. Staying relevant also means staying flexible. Reinvention isn't about changing who you are. It's about adapting how you show up. So here's what I've done. When Instagram became popular, I'll admit it, I wasn't really that interested. But once I committed, I took the time to observe what others were doing, and I experimented with different types of posts, and I found a way to make it work for me, just so that I could actually fit in some enjoyment here and not just have it work. And the same thing happened with this podcast. I didn't just start a podcast for the sake of it. I started it because I saw the potential of audio storytelling to connect with people like you, people that I care about and that I care about helping. I've been a guest on so many podcasts, but I've never enjoyed podcasting as much as I do now as your host. So please know how much you're all appreciated. You also need to listen to your audience. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned is this. Your audience will tell you what they need. If you're paying attention to them, you will hear their messages, whether it's through Instagram comments, podcast reviews, or questions I get during interviews. I'm always looking for patterns. What are people asking me for? What problems are they trying to have me solve for them? Those are clues to where you could stay relevant. And also stay curious. This is a big one. I've never stopped learning. Whether it's reading books, taking courses, or yes, getting inspired by other people's work, I'm constantly looking for ways to grow. Emulating others is not copying. I really just want to say that again. Emulating others is not copying. It's learning. It's actually a compliment to them. If you see someone doing something amazing, ask yourself, how can I adapt this in a way that feels true to me? This podcast, for example, is inspired by amazing hosts like Mel Robbins and Amy Porterfield. That's not copying. I'm not copying them. It was learning how they did it, learning how they captivate their audiences. I know that many of you spend the day scrolling and comparing yourself to others, but we should be learning from others because some people are doing what we want to do in their own way, but maybe they're doing it better or just a little differently. There's nothing wrong with emulating because I know I said it already. Emulating is not copying. So when you take inspiration from someone, it means you admire what they've done and you see value in their approach. I don't try to be like other people, but I take what resonates and then I make it my own. Think of it like following a recipe. You might use the same ingredients, but it's your seasoning, your flair that makes it uniquely yours. So if you're holding back because you think, oh, somebody's already doing this, stop that thought right away. It's your voice, your perspective, your style. Those are things that no one else could replicate. They did not live your life. They have not had your life experiences. Your perspective is unique. Your approach will resonate with people in ways that others can't. And you may even have your own audience. You don't have the same audience that they do. So listen, just in closing here, you don't need to chase every trend and be everything to everyone. You need to just know yourself. Know who your audience is. As I've said a zillion times on this show, learn how to speak in the language of your audience. And to me, being relevant means being heard. And again, just to repeat this again, because it just means so much for me to give this message to you. When you're heard, you can inspire and you could influence others. And the reason why I say the word influence is because there are so many influencers out there that have popularity, but they do not have credibility. You have credibility, so you can influence in a very different, meaningful, honest, truthful way. If this episode resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. Please follow the show. Please leave me a review or leave me a comment. I really want to hear what you think because it helps me. Actually, it inspires me and helps me to think of future shows for you. Please reach out with your thoughts on Instagram at BTD Media and listen to the show wherever you can listen to podcasts. And also we're on YouTube if you like to see videos. Your feedback really means so much. So just remember that the media world is big enough for all of us to shine. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. And oh, by the way, you are looking mighty media savvy today. Chat soon. Bye.